joining us today. We are going to go ahead and get the program started. And so first up, we will have Dr. Jenkins. Thank you.
Good morning. I hope everybody is doing well. It is a pleasure to have you here on the beautiful campus of Coppin State University. I'm Anthony Jenkins. I have the distinct honor of serving as president of this wonderful institution. And I am honored to have our university serve as the host of this wonderful event today. I would like to acknowledge and thank our Lieutenant Governor Miller for being here today. Thank you very much. I also want to acknowledge and thank the CEO of Truist, Mr. Rogers. Thank you for being here. It is a pleasure. And obviously, we have our mayor, Mayor Brandon Scott, who is with us, and the regional president of Truist, Greg Farno, who's with us as well. And we have some other important guests here in the room, and I want to thank you all for being here. You know, this is a wonderful opportunity, and I think that it is another great example of partnership and leadership. And Truist has been a tremendous partner, not only with Coppin State University, but with communities, business leaders and community leaders throughout West Baltimore and the state of Maryland for many years. And I want to thank you for that. So today is an opportunity for us to continue to do more. And Coppin State, as an anchor institution in West Baltimore who chairs the West North Avenue Development Authority, is always committed to making sure that we're doing our part to support growth, economic, and upward mobility. And so to have this hosted on our campus is a pleasure. So I wanted to welcome you to Coppin State University. It is a pleasure to kick off this wonderful event. And at this point, I will ask the CEO of Truist, Mr. Bill Rogers, to join me at the podium.
You're taking credit for this day that you brought to us outside, aren't you? I mean, just to be on, I know you're all the same way, to be on a college campus on a day like this is so invigorating and just reassuring, and just, it makes you feel great about the future of our country, the future of Baltimore. So thank you for your incredible leadership and providing this great day with us. Liz and Nicole, thank you for this important work. We're going to talk more. And Mayor and Lieutenant Governor, thank you so much for being here for this great announcement. It is great to be here in Baltimore and West Baltimore specifically. The purpose of our company is to inspire and build better lives and communities. And that guides all the work we do. That guides the decisions we make. That guides where we put our branches. That guides how we lead. That guides who we hire. And how we support our community. So it is critical to the work that we do. And this grant that we're going to talk about today is just a great example of the kind of partnerships that we want to build. This great partnership we have with Coppin State, the great partnerships that we're going to build with Accion, and the way that we support and inspire and build better lives and communities. So that brings me to why we're here today. So it is my honor, and by the way, I do this on behalf of 50,000 teammates at Truist, but it's my honor to announce $1.5 million grant to Accion Opportunity Fund. And I am really excited about this. We have a lot of opportunities to contribute, but this is a really unique partnership, one that we've worked really closely with Accion to support what their mission is and to support our purpose and create this. So when I talk about this, I think you'll see how this aligns so perfectly. So this is the Accion Opportunity Fund's down payment assistance program. So the down payment assistance program provides loans to independent long-haul truck drivers to purchase a truck, retrofit an existing truck with reduced emission filters, and make needed repairs. The lending fund has invested millions to help hardworking truck drivers. Many long-haul drivers, as you know, just spend considerably long hours on the road. They play such an essential role. Our economy, in many ways, is dependent on the efforts that they put forth every day. And by purchasing that first truck and becoming an owner-operator, that's a game changer. that becomes, you switch from an employee to an employer, from an employee, someone who's doing the work to someone who owns the business. It is a completely different frame of mind and can completely reshape the future and allow someone to build wealth and close that gap that we all see. To inspire in our purpose, inspire and build better lives and communities. Inspire is an intentional word. That means you have to be bold. It means you have to be first. It means you have to take some chances. It means you have to innovate. You have to do things that others haven't done. And I think this is a perfect example of that, a perfect example of how these great organizations come together. So this investment, I think, is that perfect example of creating the economic mobility and sustainability for communities, all the things that we think are so important, again, to closing that gap. So thanks to all our partners on the ground who are driving this change. I always have to thank our Truist teammates for their incredible dedication, their purpose, their leadership. Like you, Dr. Jenkins, I'm so honored to represent them and the work that I do every day. What I say is I actually take credit for their work, is what I really do. If I'm honest about my role. So it is my pleasure today to introduce Luz Arrutia to come up and talk about this. So Luz, and we're good friends from way back, which we made that connection again. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Bill, for the introduction, and good morning, everybody. We could not be more thrilled and grateful to the Truist Foundation for the very generous $1.5 million that will help women, Black and Latino entrepreneurs, truck drivers get a truck and get on the road to economic opportunity and building financial security and intergenerational wealth. As a nonprofit community development financial institution known as a CDFI, Accion Opportunity Fund's mission is to advance economic mobility for entrepreneurs of color and women with affordable financial services, knowledge resources, and networks. And nearly 80% of the business owners that we work with are people of color, women, and low-income entrepreneurs. As a nonprofit CDFI, we rely heavily on partnerships like the one that we're establishing with the Truist Foundation to help fulfill our goal of building a more inclusive financial system. We have deep connections in the Black, Latine, and women, low-income entrepreneurship, but this kind of support helps us scale our impact in ways that we couldn't otherwise. Right now, Accion Opportunity Fund is the only CDFI that has chosen to scale our trucking lending across the country. And I'm proud to say that since we've been doing this business, we've deployed and invested over $360 million in first-time sole owner operators who are buying trucks or are refurbishing their trucks. And 90% of those loans have gone to first-time truck owners. Thanks to the Truist Foundation, we will create a pilot program that will be implemented over a 3-year period here in Maryland and in Georgia for first-time truck drivers who are women, Black, and Latino. And our goal really is to reduce the barriers to entry that are so present in the trucking industry by designing and testing a down payment subsidy program that will enable first-time truck owners to have increased cash reserves and launch their business. We also will conduct research to understand the barriers that are faced by truck buyers so that we can create a more inclusive practice in our lending and help give that data and information to other lenders. We see ownership in the trucking industry as a real pathway to building household wealth. Trucking is one of the largest revenue streams in our US economy, but it really requires upfront capital. And to get that foot on the door, and unfortunately women and people of color do not find themselves getting access to the capital that they need. because they have been, in many cases, shut out by the traditional financial system. And now we see that access to capital is even harder because interest rates are going up. A lot of financial institutions are tightening their credit, and so that's further constraining the flow of capital that can go into these communities. It is fitting that we are at Coppin State University making this announcement today, Dr. Jenkins. As an HBCU, Coppin State was founded to create educational opportunities for Black people that were shut out of other higher education institutions, unfortunately for no other reason than the color of their skin. Our new down payment assistance fund has a similar goal of creating opportunities for those that have been shut out, overlooked, and underinvested. Thanks to the generous support of the Truist Foundation, women, Black, and Latino entrepreneurs who have the drive to get into the trucking industry, no pun intended, but not the capital, will get the fuel they need to launch their journey into this very important business entrepreneurship opportunities. I want to thank you for this opportunity, and now I would like to introduce you to Nicole Ward. She is the co-founder of Capital Freight, LLC, a trucking and logistics company, and founder of the nonprofit African American Women in Trucking, a group that we will be so honored and delighted to work with very closely going forward. Thank you all.
Wow, thank you, Luz. What a great day to be alive. Wow, I just can't help but say that. I'm a little bit off cue, but to see such an amazing partnership and what this is getting ready to do for so many African Americans and Latino truck drivers, my heart just explodes. So thank you again. Good morning, everyone. I am honored to be part of this announcement for the new partnership between Accion Opportunity Fund and Truist Foundation. This is going to help so many Latin, Black, and women truck drivers. As a founder and CEO of the African American Women Trucking Association, I have seen firsthand the unique challenges that as Black women that we face in this industry. As a former executive within the insurance industry, I worked decades implementing diversity and inclusion policies. However, in 2021, after seeing the benefits and the potential of a career in trucking, I decided to change lanes. No pun intended. That year with my mom, as my business partner, I launched Capital Freight LLC, a trucking logistics company. It wasn't easy. It took a lot of work, and it ran into a lot of dead ends before I actually found success, okay? But I'm not the only one who struggled, and I'm here to support the women that struggle as well and let them know they are not in this alone. While trucking is a viable path for many people looking to improve their financial well-being, owning a truck is costly. Black women like myself often face significant barriers in accessing capital that we also need to make sure that we're able to be successful in the trucking industry. There's a lot of lack of mentorship and networking opportunities, as we all know it. The trucking industry is dominated by white males and can be a challenge for Black women to find their place, find mentorship, and role models that look like them. I have gone through similar struggles and can provide support and guidance that they need in order to be successful. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why I founded the African American Women Trucking Association. We have over 3,000 members and we are growing. And we are so excited to be a part of this change. Thank you. We are about empowerment and providing Black women drivers with the support that they need to navigate through a male-dominated industry. I'm happy that our association is now partnered with Accion, as well as Truist, to provide resources like business coaching and important programs like down payment assistance. Thank you, Truist, and thank you so much, Accion. This program is going to change the lives of so many families who want to build wealth in trucking, but struggle with the down payment. I'm grateful for this partnership. I'm excited about the positive impact that this potential partnership, but this partnership will create, and it will also create a more diverse trucking industry. So again, I thank you for your support and your partnership. Thank you again. Now, I would actually like to introduce the Baltimore Mayor, Brandon Scott, who has worked to find innovative ways to build a more equitable city through partnerships like the down payment assistance. Everyone, please help him. Please help me welcome Mayor Scott. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Well, I'll just say that after Nicole speaks, none of us really need to. Just start there. Good morning, everyone. It is so great to be here. Mr. President, thank you for hosting us at the Coppin State University. As always, a true partner for how we can be a better Baltimore. So thank you very much. To our Lieutenant Governor, good to see you again, man. You're always welcome in Baltimore. I'll say to you what I said to Secretary Jake Day. You're here so much, we have plenty of places for you. You can have your residence in Montgomery County, but you can have one here as well. We would love to have you here. And to Bill, thank you for joining us. Let me just be very clear about this. This is why this is really important to me. As a card-carrying Truist member, it truly warms my heart that you and Greg and the folks at Truist really are investing in our communities in a deep way. Toulouse and the team at Accion, thank you very much. And Nicole, thank you. This is what we're talking about today. We know that the trucking industry has always been a pathway to building wealth for individuals and for families, whether they are looking for a new career or a pathway to entrepreneurship. I actually have two uncles that were truck drivers my whole life, right? And I've seen how they were able to provide for parts of my family, albeit that we didn't see them just as much. They would come to the family reunion for 2 or 3 minutes and they would be gone. But we always knew that they were working. But we know that our minority residents have particularly been able to find success within this industry. But we all in this room know that you have to pay the cost to be the boss, as James Brown would say. And it is, although it's more profitable to own your own truck, it is very expensive. But we also know, as we heard from Nicole and others, that there have been tremendous barriers to entering into this work, especially for women, especially for Black and brown women. But thanks to these tremendous partnership between Truist and Accion Opportunity Fund with support at the local, state, and federal level, we can now help to offset those costs. This $1.5 million investment goes beyond that down payment assistance. This really is an investment into our workforce, and specifically that benefits our Black and Latino residents and our Black and Latino women. And let me just also say this. If you're looking for the best drivers around, that's where you'll find them. I get driven around by Black women all the time. They drive a lot better than the men that drive me around. I don't have to tell them where to go. They know where to go, but that's neither here or there. But we know that because our minorities have been overlooked, or even worse, they've been turned down for loans and other opportunities to gain capital, all because of the racism, not just within this industry, but within this country. But now that we have Truist, and Bill, we were talking about this, so thank you before we came out today, understanding that the only way that we're gonna undo these systemic things is to invest in systems that help us go the other way. So thank you for continuing to help us level the playing field and affording everyone the same opportunities to unlock financial freedom and establish wealth for their families. That is why I'm so excited about this investment, because it aligns perfectly with the work we are doing in Baltimore to empower our small business owners and our entrepreneurs, but also folks who want to enter into government workforce. In collaboration with my departments, we recently announced a $10,000 hiring and retention bonus for both existing and new employees who have jobs that require a CDL license. The trucking industry has been so popular, but we know that it gained so much traction in the past few years. Folks start to appreciate how much the trucking industry meant when they were sitting at home and they wanted their stuff and they wanted it right then and there on the spot. That really helped to reveal how our CDL drivers are, how integral they are to our society. And when we are strategizing on how to rebuild our workforce, we have to approach it through that lens of equity from a lot of different angles. And we cannot and should not, and never again should we assume that women don't want to drive trucks and long-haul trucks. We are showing our minority and women workers and budding entrepreneurs that want to grow to be like Nicole that we believe in them. And we support them by giving them the resource to access affordable capital and the tools to scale their business. Because ultimately, we are in the business of changing lives. And this is the gift that will keep on giving. Thank you again to all of our partners, to Truist, to Accion, for believing in these folks, investing in these folks. We know that this investment will pay itself back tenfold because we know that we need it. And we know that if you want to get anywhere, you want to get there being driven by Black and brown women. And on that note, I would like to introduce our fabulous, we've never had a lieutenant governor this fabulous with this mindset, this understanding of how it truly means to be someone that understands the needs of all people other than our Lieutenant Governor, Aruna Miller. Ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. Mr. Mayor, looks like you and I got the memo to wear blue today. Yeah, that's right. And just to remind everyone, today also is Flower Mart, right? So that's an exciting festival that's taking place here, and that's where I believe Mr. Mayor and I are headed next. Can't wait to try the lemon and peppermint stick. I have never had that before. I think they need to name that after you, Mr. Mayor. Calling it lemon and peppermint stick, that's a lot of stuff to stay out of your mouth. So I'm gonna suggest that they name it after you. But anyway, I just wanna say how excited I am to be here. To Bill Rogers and Greg Farno and to the Truist Foundation and family, thank you. Thank you for your generous contribution to lift people up and create entrepreneurs here. And to Luz, thank you for your leadership to do the same exact thing, to be able to bring women and people of color into the space of being from employees to employers, such an important step to take. So I thank you for your leadership, as well as Nicole Ward. I gotta tell you, I read about this young lady on the internet, and I was so impressed by everything that you're doing. Thank you for your mentorship to uplift women, to get into this space that you don't ordinarily see. Look, for someone like you to come into this in the beginning when there's nobody that looks like you there, that takes a lot of courage. So I wanna thank you for that. And to your mom, who I believe went on a reconnaissance mission as a truck driver to see what was happening in the trucking world and how it could be better made for women. So I thank you for your leadership as well and giving us your beautiful daughter to the rest of the world. You know, one of the things that I read that Nicole said is in her company, Capital Freight, that none of the individuals that have joined have left the company. That's a lot to say, that she's been able to retain all these employees for this long. But I think you said it best. Quote, she said, "We have to treat them as important as they are." Now, if every company did that, imagine what a great world this would be. So thank you, Nicole, for your leadership. And to President Jenkins, wow, what a great institution to be here at, one of the premier HBCUs. We thank you for creating this talented, exceptional students that are going to change the world and make the world a better place. So thank you for your leadership. And I got to tell you, Governor Moore is so excited to be able to come here and give his first commencement speech right here at Coppin State, right? As the first Black governor of Maryland and as the current only Black governor in the entire nation. So he made sure Coppin State University would be a priority. And of course, to Mayor Brandon Scott, love to come here to Charm City with the most charming mayor of all in the state of Maryland. So thank you for welcoming me here as well. Look, I'm a transportation engineer, and I know what it's like to be in those spaces that you walk into and you're not meant to be there, right? You walk in, and you're looking around, and these are spaces that were created for others and not with you in mind. I spent my whole life living in that space, and I'm sure many of you in this room have as well. Whether it was an immigrant living in a Western world, or as a female engineer in a male-dominated field, or as a woman of color in a field, as a legislator in a strictly male-dominated legislature. I know what it's like to be in that space, and that's why it's so important to me, the work that Truist and Accion is doing to make individuals like this feel like they belong, that they should feel comfortable in their communities, in their home, in their skin. That's what it's all about. And so I'm just so excited for this great opportunity of what's happening today right here at Coppin State University. Today, Accion and Truist Foundation are taking meaningful steps to level the playing field to bring more women and people of color into the trucking industry, not just as employees, but as employers. We know that communities of color and women often struggle to secure capital and resources because they're systemically shut out of the traditional financing. But organizations like Truist Foundation and Accion move the needle forward to building opportunities and not barriers. And they have a track record to prove it. According to your website, Luz, for over 25 years, Accion has served client base that is over 90% women, people of color, and low to moderate income levels, with their client businesses having historically had 96% survival rate compared to the national small business survival rate of 50%. That's remarkable. Can we give them a round of applause on that? And I believe your slogan is supporting small businesses, advancing justice. What a great vision for the entire state of Maryland. And that's exactly what the Moore-Miller administration is also wanting to do, is to make sure that we take down barriers and we leave no one behind. And we've done this from day one after joining the administration. We have built the most diverse cabinet in Maryland's history, with over 50% of our secretaries being people of color, 50% of our cabinet secretaries as women, right? And over 29% as women of color. So we are so proud of the administration that we have built, but this is just the beginning. This past 100 days, we've also passed legislation to make sure that we can uplift families and support working families by advancing minimum wage to January 2024, as opposed to waiting another year and a half to make that happen. And we're also lifting families out of poverty to make sure that we permanently extend the earned income tax credit and expand the child tax credit, two tools that have been known to lift people out of poverty. And then we are also making sure that any procurement contracts are going to meet the 29% MBE goals. Right now, that's not what's happening in the state of Maryland. Whether it's minority business enterprise, small business owners, women-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, none of these are being able to get that 29% goal. We're going to make sure, Governor Moore and I, that this goal is met. So again, people that have been shut out of the process normally are going to have this great opportunity. And I'm also, in my own personal portfolio, I want to bring equity into STEM education. This is going to be a policy priority for me to be able to get more women and people of color into this space, because here's the thing. In the 21st century, The greatest challenges ahead of us are going to require STEM education to come up with the solutions, whether it's in climate, or healthcare, or making sure we have clean energy, or artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, you name it. We're going to have individuals coming out of Coppin State University that can take on these challenges. And then finally, I want to say that we're also making the work that Truist and Accion is doing a priority in our administration by making our state more equitable, but also making it more environmentally conscious. We just passed a piece of legislation to encourage companies to be able to buy more energy efficient, clean energy trucks. So we know that this price tag between a conventional truck versus a clean energy truck is vast. So we have a bill that will give 75% of the delta between those prices back to the owner so we can move towards a clean energy in the state of Maryland. And so finally, I just want to say that's also been said many times over that we must work collectively to create a path toward work, wages, and wealth. This is going to require partnership with the public, private, and nonprofit sectors, and including entrepreneurial spirits like the one Nicole Ward has. We're going to need leaders like you to bring this on. So Governor Moore and I, again, are so honored that Maryland was one of the states selected by Truist Foundation, thank you, and for the down payment reduction fund. We're thrilled to be working together with the Accion, and I could not envision a better venue for today's announcement than one of Maryland's 4 world-class HBCUs. So great to be here at Coppin State University. Thank you, everyone, for everything that you do to grow the state of Maryland and make it a more equitable, just, and compassionate state. Thank you. And now we're going to have Greg Farno from Truist. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I promise I'll be brief. Let me start by thanking you, Lieutenant Governor Miller, for making the time to be with us today. I also want to thank Mayor Scott. Several months ago, the Truist teammates started to talk about what we wanted to do today when Bill was going to be in market. And the decision was made by the team, many of whom are here right now, to showcase Baltimore. And I said, great. I think I know exactly the location we want to be at. Coppin State. The team also said, it would be great if Mayor Scott could be there. And I said, okay. I said, if you haven't noticed, he's got a lot on his plate these days. But I'll try. And I texted Mayor Scott, and I kid you not, within 5 minutes, it wasn't a text, it was a phone call, and I told him what we were doing, and without hesitation, he said he would be here. Thank you very much, Mayor Scott. And Lieutenant Governor Miller. But I'm Greg Farno, the Maryland Regional President for Truist, and I want to express my thanks to our speakers, our hosts at Coppin State. Thank you, Dr. Jenkins, for everything, and all of you for coming out today to support this significant grant announcement and celebrate the power it has to change lives. I hope you can stay and enjoy the refreshments and the opportunity to network. But before I let you go, I want to reinforce the success of gifts like this depends on all of us continuing to stay engaged and work together to help level the playing field in all industries and communities. Your presence here today is a testament to your commitment, making a difference in our community and moving it forward in a positive direction. At Truist, we strive to live our purpose every day, to inspire and build better lives and communities, and be a partner and an ally in the great work being done. We are so proud to support organizations like Accion Opportunity Fund and similar initiatives that create opportunities for all. Entrepreneurs fuel our economic engine. So we want to do all we can to to ensure that they have access to the resources they need to succeed. Again, thank you for being here today and for your continued support. Together, we can make a difference and create pathways to a brighter future for everyone in a greater Baltimore and Maryland region. Thank you, and please enjoy the refreshments and each other.